Hope and Healing. We're back again today with another Meet the Therapist. This time is a little bit special because in addition to being one of the clinicians here at Hope and Healing, Jennifer is also the owner of the practice. And so I'm going to let her introduce herself for the most part. But I'm here with Jennifer Voorhaar this morning, and I'm hoping, Jen, that you could introduce yourself and also give us a little bit of the background of Hope and Healing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to be here with you today. So I am a licensed clinical social worker, and my journey in this field started about 20 years ago. And I've done lots of things that have consistently been around working with survivors of trauma. So I've done CPS and foster care and long-term care with our veterans and working with military active duty dependents. And I, about 5 years ago, found myself in a position where I was having the people that I was supervising come to me and say that they were having a hard time finding therapists in our area that could work with our clientele who were families of or survivors of trauma. If they couldn't find a therapist that, a trauma therapist. And so I was having a casual lunch meeting with a colleague who just the room across the hall was available for rent. So in September of 2018 is when I saw my first client. I didn't really have the current practice that we have now in the vision at the time, but it didn't take long for me to recognize that talk therapy wasn't the only thing. I actually started the practice using walk and talk therapy as well, because there's a lot of research around the bilateral stimulation of the brain and helping to heal trauma. And, that's a conversation for a whole nother day, but just wanted to give opportunities for something other than just sitting across a room and talking. So in addition to the walk and talk therapy, I started to realize that there's a lot of other things that are out in the world that we can use to incorporate in the process of healing from trauma, whether that be a big trauma like an assault or some kind, or even those little life stressors and the world sometimes calls them little t traumas, things that just don't go our way and we're not quite sure how to handle them. So this wellness center idea started to kind of blossom out of that. And February of 2019, I hired my first part-time employee, and it didn't take long for that just to be the ball that just kept on rolling and gaining momentum. So here we are now, almost 5 years. September is our 5th anniversary. And we're in 2 locations now. We have our full service, if you will, wellness center in Leonardtown, where we have a massage therapist here on our team. We have a studio for fitness and yoga classes with partnerships with fitness professionals in the area. Being able to offer things like wellness workshops and bringing other modalities in, aromatherapy and things like that. And we have many more offices than we started with. That one office suite has now grown into 8 offices here in Leonardtown, and a wonderful staff of therapists. And then we have a smaller location, but ever-growing location in Prince Frederick. We actually just moved into a larger space over there so that we can double, if not triple, the ability to reach the community over in Prince Frederick. So it's been an exciting journey, one that really didn't come out of the gate looking the way that it does, but it's been really exciting to be able to offer this service to the community, as well as create a place for my staff and myself to also be able to engage in just a community of wellness.
Absolutely. Such growth in 5 years. We're very excited for the 5-year anniversary coming up in September. And now that you've given us a good overview about, Hope and Healing as the Therapy and Wellness Center. Can you give us a little more insight into Jennifer, the clinician, today, and the ways that you might approach therapy one-on-one with clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's really important for people to be able to understand our style, because while many of us here do similar modalities in terms of evidence-based treatment, our presentation and delivery of that is very different. So I've been told that I engage in therapy different than what folks would expect. I've had interns and other staff observe me to learn, and they say it's different. So I'm not sure what they were expecting, but with my clients, I'm just real. What you see is what you get. I tell all of my clients from the very beginning, and this is probably kind of sprinkled throughout our messaging, is that the world tells us that we're broken and we need to be fixed. And we're not a small appliance, right? We're not like, this is broken, let me toss it away, or let me see how I can get this to a repairman and fix it. Life throws crap our way that we don't often have the ability, the tools, the capacity, or those tools that we have just don't work. And so I really think that two things. One is that I do believe that God has provided me with a gift to be able to hold space for those difficult things. I tell many of my clients that the reason why I have a rug in my room is because you're going to come and unload everything. We're going to pick up what you need and you're going to take it with you, and everything that you leave behind, I'm going to brush under the rug. And I do believe that the gift of me being able to hold that space for those difficult experiences that people have is what helps me to be able to do the work that I do. I also hold people accountable for what they say they want to do, but what they're not doing, because, we can't cut the grass if we don't turn on the lawnmower and start pushing it. So, just holding people accountable and just having conversations. A lot of people think that therapy is what the world tells us that it is. There's a therapist and there's a clipboard and we're taking notes, and maybe you're lying down on a couch. And that's not what it is. Yes, we have a couch, and yes, we have comfy chairs, but it's more for your comfort than, that psychoanalytic world of laying on a couch. And we're just having a conversation, and I'm pulling out pieces that I'm hearing and helping to put puzzles together, because sometimes the pieces are just kind of thrown about. And sometimes we just need people to tell us the hard stuff. And so I kind of throw that truth back at them. We work at it together and make sense of it, so that when they leave here, while the work we're doing is hard in the moment, they're going to leave here with additional tools and skills, a few tricks up their sleeve, and they're going to practice that. I give most of my clients homework throughout the week. So they come in, we really dig into it, and then they take it home with them and they work throughout the week. And then each time you come in, we're just processing kind of how was the week, how was last week's session incorporated into this week, so that ultimately we can get them to a place of healing.
And you sort of already touched on this, but there are a lot of different ways that hope and healing, or that we hear from clients that hope and healing is different, not just your personal approach to therapy, but that hope and healing in general takes a different approach to therapy and healing in general, and wellness in general. So outside of what you mentioned about your personal practice, what about hope and healing do you hear most often from clients sets it apart from other types of therapy services in the area?
Well, I'm going to tell you that the very first thing that sets us apart is that we return people's phone calls and we answer emails. And that seems like a really simple thing, but I have made it a point from the very beginning, when it was just me and I was seeing 30 clients a week, to now when I have an amazing intake and billing coordinator who answers our phone and responds to those inquiries. I've always made it a point that we're going to return every phone call. whether we have the ability to provide you a service or not, we're at least going to be a touch point. We're going to have a conversation with you about what your needs are. Do we have the ability to provide that service and help to meet those needs? Do we have a community partner that we can provide a referral or a resource to help you along the journey? And it's true. Sometimes we're going to return that call, and other than just having a conversation with Logan, we might not be able to provide much. But so many times I've heard people say, the fact that you called me back is amazing. So the first thing is that our phones don't go unanswered. You might have to leave a voicemail, but I assure you that you're going to get a call back. The second thing is that when you walk into our spaces, the aesthetic is different than what you might expect. So I do not like fluorescent lights. For me personally, it gives me a headache, but I also feel like it creates that institutional vibe. So throughout our waiting room and in the hallways, we have these really cool covers on our lights that just kind of create an ambiance and dim it. All of our offices are set up. You know, there's an office space where there's a desk and things like that, but then it's a cozy little living room nook, if you will. So we have lamps on, we have the couch, a comfortable chair, some pillows, and it's just a really soft vibe. And just really comfortable. So, you know, those are kind of on the outside of it. But in terms of services, we have providers that have come from many different places. We have, from a professional or a personal standpoint, we have, law enforcement spouses, we have military spouses, we have, military, veterans, we have folks that have, have children or don't have children. They're married, they're not married, they've traveled the world, they've not lived out of St. Mary's County. So, personally, we have a wide variety of things to offer because we are, the therapist is part of the tool that we use in our sessions. And then professionally, we have folks that have worked with social services in the schools, with military folks, in the hospital, in outpatient clinics, lots of different environments. And I think that because personally and professionally, we bring so much diversity to the table, we're really able to match clients with the right provider from the beginning. Certainly, there are times when it's not a good match, but we really want to make sure that when you have that intake session, you're going to create a long-term clinical relationship with that provider, because all too often the first person with an opening gets matched with a client in other practices, and then it's just not a good fit. So our personal and professional diversity allows us to make those good connections. It allows us also to really work as a team, to bounce ideas off of each other and to get additional information. We are always learning and always looking for new techniques and new ideas and new approaches. And I think our ability to sometimes adjust right on the fly, something's not working and, I've got this idea, I'm going to grab it and we're going to go with it, allows us to just keep the clinical momentum going so that our clients aren't having setbacks or having to start over with somebody else. Or, I just think we bring a lot. We bring a lot to the table collectively as a group.
Yes, so much insight and so much assurance about not just the communication piece, but that connection piece, which is so important. And a lot of people might not realize when they're going to seek mental health treatment that those things are taken into consideration and they're not just matched with whoever is, up next for a client or available to take a client. And so since those things are maybe not considered by those seeking mental health treatment before they go about that journey, what are some other things that you wish all clients knew about seeking mental health treatment before they approached it?
I wish that the community at large looked at mental health as part of our overall health. for the most part, we don't hesitate to have a yearly physical. We don't hesitate to, get that spot on our arm checked out by a dermatologist or follow up with that referral that our primary care may have given us. We don't hesitate to call the roofer when something's wrong with our house or take our car into the mechanic or even try to fix it ourselves, right? We don't hesitate to do those things. But when it comes to mental health, it's getting better. And I have some exciting ideas on the future, in the future coming that I think will help us to reduce some of that stigma even more. And it is getting better. However, there's such a block that people think that I only have to go to therapy if something is wrong with me or if something really big happens. And that's just not true. Sometimes we just need a little tweak. We just need an unbiased person who has a new set of eyes to look at our situation and say, have you thought about this? I didn't mention this when I was talking about what sets us apart from others, but this is a good time to add it. And that is, clients might also be surprised that our providers are going to talk to you about your eating habits, your sleeping habits, your routines of your day. What kind of movement are you getting in? Because our body is a machine. And in the same way that you have to put all those fluids in your car and you have to put gas in your car and clean the windshield and all that kind of stuff, we have to make sure that we're doing that to our physical body in order for everything to make sense. So I know for myself, one of the first questions that I'm talking to clients about in the initial intake is, tell me about a typical day, because I want to hear, when are they waking? When are they eating? When are they getting some movement in? When are they getting some sunshine in? When are they interacting with other people? What's their morning routines, their bedtime routines? Because sometimes it's just a little tweak in the day that can make a world of improvement. Hydration is key. Fueling our bodies is key. Like I said, sunshine, movement, all of those things are really important. And I think sometimes clients are surprised when their first sets of homework sometimes are, go sit outside on the porch for 10 minutes. And they come back and they say, man, I did that yesterday and the whole afternoon was amazing after that and nothing else changed. So I think sometimes clients are expecting big, grand interventions, this big clinical process, and sometimes it's just a simple tweak. It comes from someone different than you haven't heard it from, and it comes out of a place of truly wanting our community to be well and to be healthy.
And our communities are those of Southern Maryland, but there might be people watching that are not in Southern Maryland. So for us here in Southern Maryland, we can maybe answer this in two different ways. Maybe someone seeking services that's in the Leonardtown or Calvert area. How would you seek mental health services if they've never tried to make a first appointment before? And then maybe we could also talk about how someone who's not in our area could go about seeking services for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the easiest tools that we have in front of us is our insurance card. So whether you're in this area or outside of this area, calling the number on the back of your insurance card and maybe having your insurance company provide you with a list of providers that are within your network. Now, here's my warning. Your insurance company doesn't know who's actively accepting clients, who has a wait list, et cetera, and it's not always accurate information. Sometimes we were previously credentialed with an insurance and we've come off that panel, but we're still coming up on the list. So it's not a list of who's accepting clients. It's a list of who is likely accepting your insurance. So that's the first place. The other place is talk to people around you. If you know that you have a friend who went to counseling or went to marriage counseling or took their child to counseling, give them a call and say, hey, I remember you telling me that you went to see a therapist. Who did you see? How did you find them? Would you recommend them? Word of mouth is probably our biggest tool for marketing. We create an experience for people that they then take out into the world. And I hold a huge amount of value in that. I see a client, that client tells someone else who tells someone else, and ultimately people are coming not just to us, but they're seeking therapy because they know that other people are doing it. So, talking to friends and family who may have been in counseling. You can jump onto the internet, you can do some Google searches. It's, again, not always accurate information, but it's there. You can talk to your primary care provider, the social workers or the guidance counselors at your children's school may be a good resource. Your HR department, if you have an EAP service, may be a good resource. So kind of thinking outside of the box. Gone are the days that we just open up the telephone book and jump to the yellow pages and kind of look under therapist and we have the probably most accurate and up-to-date information. Things are ever changing, and we can think outside the box in how we can find providers. I think that might have answered your question.
Absolutely. And, I was just going to close in saying that for those interested in seeking services with Hope and Healing, you can learn a little bit more about each one of our providers by going to our website. You can go to hopehealingtherapy.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. We have an Instagram and a Facebook as well. So I'll put those on the screen so that people can follow us on those platforms and stay up to date with us. And then you can also just call. Like Jennifer was saying earlier in the interview, even if you have to leave a voicemail, your call will be returned, and have someone contact them back to discuss options that would be best for them. So
absolutely. And the other thing I just thought of, Les, as you were sharing that information was, if someone wanted to come to Hope and Healing as a client, they know that this is the practice that they want to come to, heading over to our website, which if you found this video, you're already there, read the bios and listen to the videos. But I encourage you to not stop at the first one that speaks to you. And the reason for that is because you might watch one or two videos and you decide, okay, this is the person I want to call and ask to be seen by. And that person may not have openings, and then you get frustrated. So really spend some time on our Meet the Therapist page and read all of the bios and listen to all of the videos and really see who might speak to you, so that when you call and you're speaking to our intake folks, they might say, oh, I'm sorry, this person doesn't have any openings, but this person does. And then you've already listened to that person's bio. You've already watched their video and know who they are. So you're more prepared to engage in that service rather than being discouraged because the one person that you wanted to see is not available.
Absolutely. And I think that also falls into the category of things that set us apart a little bit, is the opportunity that we have been working to provide for clients to engage with a potential provider without ever having to step foot into the office. I think that's a really great opportunity, especially for someone that might be a little bit nervous about their first appointment. And so if you go to our providers page, each providers should have at this point a video just like this one with Jen, talking about their personal practice, their approaches, their experience, and really giving you an opportunity to get to know who you're going to be sitting down with in the event that you schedule an appointment. So that was all really great information. Do you have any closing thoughts to leave us with, or have we covered it all?
We've probably covered it all. The only thing that I would say is that we would love to have the community as part of our community here at Hope and Healing. We really do consider our staff as our family, and our clients that come in, whether it's for massage or yoga or a wellness workshop or therapy, you're all a part of the Hope and Healing community, and we really want to create that and have you feel like you're a part of that environment. So, give us a call, check us out, see what we have to offer. Stay tuned for maybe some fun other things that are coming down the pike. And, hopefully there's something that speaks to you and you can find something that can help you along the journey. I'm speaking to the folks that are watching this right now. Just consider what little nuggets you might be able to take away.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. And we've got all the contact information available for anyone interested in reaching out.